What's going on, guys? Detached here, and today we're going to continue our series looking at the PvP builds that I use, and today is the Hunter that we're going to take a look at. Here are some of my favorite pieces of gear and weapons that I love to use. In the Crucible, I really do enjoy the cosmetic looks of a lot of the gear in the game. So that's one thing that really plays into the look of my character is how the gear looks. It does have to look good. The stat rolls that I've got right now, it's got me around tier 10. I could probably get it up to tier 12 with some of the gear that I do have. But starting with the armor that I run, I'm actually running the Hood of Malak right now. The perks aren't the best, but the shield do start to recover immediately after orb pickup is something that comes in kind of handy in both PvE and PvP. It's also got ashes to assets on it, so you do gain that bonus super energy on grenade kills. I'm also running the Iron Sega grips. This has become one of my favorite pieces. It's got the sniper rifle loader on it. It's also got impact induction, so bonus grenade energy on the melee hits. And that's something you'll find quite often with the Hunter, is you're going to be up close and personal most of the time. For the chest piece, I'm actually running the Iron Sega vest. The stat rolls, they came out pretty decent. I just don't have them actually leveled. But it's got the scout rifle ammo and sidearm ammo, so it's something I actually run quite often. It's got the double solar. It's got solar armor and solar recovery on it. For the legs, I'm actually running the Dream Eater strides. Picked these up in Archon's Forge. Love the way they look, and the perks on them aren't too bad. They've got fusion rifle ammo and rocket launcher ammo on them. And the arc double down comes in very handy after a arc double kill. For the cloak, I'm running the Starwinder cloak. This is one of my favorite looking pieces in the game. It does have some really nice perks. It's got the pulse rifle focus and sniper rifle focus on it. Of course, the Crucible champion. And for a couple of the pieces on the artifact, I'm running the Dredgen Yours Rose because of the stats. And I run the Memory of Yolder because it removes the sprint cooldown penalty, and that comes in quite handy in the Crucible. Now, some of my other gear that I run, the Graviton Forfeit. It is a classic for the Hunters, still one of my all-time favorites in the way it looks and just the overall stats that it does give you. The perk on it, it does give you Shade Step in your subclass. It opens it up for free, and it's got Inverse Shadow and Invigoration is what I've been using. So again, gain bonus melee energy on those orb pickups. Still a great piece, but it is for Hunters only. So those are kind of my helmets that I use. The Shinobu's Vow is always a must-have for the Hunters anytime they're running the Arc line. They are a great piece to have, and it's this perk right here. This is actually a pair that I picked up, and for whatever reason I dismantled my other pair. I don't know why. But this one's got a really nice roll on it. It's got scout rifle loader and shotgun loader on it. And the perk is called New Tricks. It actually improves skip grenades, and you gain an additional skip grenade charge on your character. It is one of the greatest pair of arms you could possibly have in the game for a Hunter. You can't beat them. Now for some of the other gear on my boots, the Frosties, love these. They do take some getting used to though, because their perk that they have, it gives you a tighter turn radius while sprinting, so it takes a little getting used to, and then increased grenade and melee regeneration while sprinting. So those are the Frosties. They've got some nice rolls on them. This one's got sniper rifle ammo and a rocket launcher ammo, so it comes in very handy for trials and some of the other big events throughout the Crucible that we like to play. As far as the capes, the other one that I like to run is the Cloak of Taniks. This is another one of my favorites. Again, just a great look on everything, and the stats, sniper rifle focus and pulse rifle focus, two of my bigs that I run all the time. So that kind of wraps up the gear that I run on my Hunter. As far as the chest piece, I don't really run any other chest pieces except the Iron Sega Vest. I at times will run the Crest of Alpha Lupi, just depending on what we are doing. If we're running trials, I'll throw this on because of the perk that it gives you for reviving your teammates faster and also being revived faster. Now, as far as the weapons go, I actually have one of my favorite sets on right now, the Lord High Fixer hand cannon. It is one of the nicest hand cannons in the game. To me, this is probably one of my favorites. The rate of fire is a tad bit slower, so it is on the low fire rate, high impact archetype of the hand cannon range, but it does have some spectacular range, which is something you always want with hand cannons because most of them nowadays are very limited. The stability is a little bit short on this guy. The roll that I've got on this one is Mulligan. I've also got Rifled Barrel, which is going to increase your range, but it's got a slower reload, and it's got Underdog. So this weapon gains a boost to range and handling when the health is low. Not a great perk, but I do like it. When it comes down to if you're last man standing, it does help just a tad bit. It has also got steady hand, so it does help for excellent recoil and the optimized sight. I use the Sure Shot. It's got great handling and it helps with the target acquisition. One of my favorite hand cannons in the game. Some others that I do love are the Ace Luna. This is always a great one to have. The perks that I have on this one are Surrounded, so this weapon gains bonus damage when 3 or more enemies are at close proximity. I've got Hand Loaded, Small Bore, which comes in great. It extends the range, gives you a little bit more stability. I've got Rifled Barrel, and I've got Army of One. Now I've also got Fast Draw, Quick Draw, and I've got True Sight. So it's got strong target acquisition. Not a god roll for an AS Luna, but it is a good roll. Now, compared to the Lord High Fixer, they are pretty much, as far as rate of fire, impact, the same exact gun. But again, you're going to have a little bit different on range. The AS Luna's got more stability, and it reloads a little bit faster. Alright, moving on, my next favorite is the Pally. This has come down to probably the second in the bag as far as hand cannons go for what I really like. It does have one less in the magazine than Lord High Fixer and AS Luna, but this one had a really nice roll on it. I got Triple Tap, it's got Partial Refund, Rifled Barrel to help the range, high caliber rounds, and of course Luck in the Chamber. Now this is probably one of the nicest hand cannons you can get. Again, it's still a little bit on the slower rate of fire, high impact archetype of hand cannon, but it's very nice to have. I've got an unsteady hand, mainly because I don't have anything else leveled up right now, but this will become a little more prevalent when I start leveling this and getting it going. And a couple of other weapons that I really enjoy. This has become one of my favorite scout rifles in the game, is the Distant Star. I got an amazing roll on this back on the last Iron Banner when it rolled. I've got the, of course, Iron Red Dot. It depends on what you're using. You know, say you're using a Mida multi-tool. This is compared to a Mida multi-tool because it is in that high rate of fire archetype for a scout rifle and a little bit lower impact. Now this is pretty minuscule compared to a Mida, but it does compete depending on the roll you have. Now, I've got Perfect Balance, Oiled Frame, I've got Full Auto and Explosive Rounds, and I've also got Rangefinder. So, I do have Rescue Mag. It's got a chance to refill this weapon's magazine when critically wounded. So, it is kind of nice, but that is becoming and has been one of my favorite scout rifles to go to for PvP play. Now, moving on to the secondary, the Plan C Fusion Rifle, one of the best in the game and continues to be a very big champion in the Crucible. It's got a slow charge rate but high impact, massive range, a little low on the stability, but the reload is extremely fast. It didn't have a linear compensator. That's the only thing that really was missing from this build to make it pretty much a perfect one for the way I play and my style for Crucible. But overall, this is one of my favorite fusion rifles still to date. It is an exotic, so it does take the exotic slot, but it is well worth it in my mind. Now, from the shotgun class, the Matador 64, there's not much else to say about it. It is absolutely a beast inside the Crucible. It is well worth getting if you have never played with it or had it. The roll I got is Spray and Play, Hammer Forge to help the range, Quick Draw, Small Bore if I chose it, so it does take the reload down, but it helps stability and range, and I also got Rangefinder. Really nice roll. It is absolutely beast in the Crucible, though. Pretty much the only shotgun worth having right now. The other weapons that I do like to play are the Trespasser. It's a great sidearm. It's a very fast fire rate, low impact. It has got decent range on it, but the stability and reload perk are really what helped this weapon a ton. The main perk on here is called Be the Danger. This weapon fires bursts of bullets with deadly accuracy. And then you have Unrepentant. So reloading after a kill causes the next burst to be a longer, more powerful super burst. And it does a ton of damage. It is one of the nicest looking sidearms in the game. So those are a couple of the secondaries that I run. For my snipers, I have got the Longbow Synthesis and the LDR 5001. Longbow is still my favorite out of all of them. Got a pretty decent roll. I've got life support, skip rounds, rifled barrel, and gasket mag, and then I've got Firefly. I did not, however, get my short gaze sight that I wanted, so that's really the only difference. I do have another longbow on the Titan that does have the short gaze, and it's got a little better roll, but this is still a really nice one. My LDR has got a pretty decent roll as well. It does have my short gaze scope. This is one of the nicest. It's very quick to aim. It does help in the Crucible. It's got Underdog, which I don't really care for this perk on a sniper rifle, but it's got Injection Mold, Casket Mag, Skip Rounds, and Hidden Hand. Still a very nice sniper rifle to have. Now for heavy, I've been running the Machine Gun Unending Deluge III. It is a very nice high rate of fire, low impact, short range, but it holds 70 in the magazine. And when it comes to the Crucible, you have got some very good close quarters most of the time. So you can have, the roll that I got anyways, is Counterbalance, Perfect Balance, Hand-laid stock, so it does increase the stability a ton, but it drops the range to very minimum. It's got small bore, which is going to help stability and range, and then it's got persistence. This weapon grows more accurate the longer it's fired. This is an absolute beast inside the Crucible because you can hold 70 rounds. That's really all I run inside the Crucible. I do have a couple of rocket launchers. I just don't use them very often. For my shells, I've got the Pursuer shell. This is a very nice looking shell. I love the coloring on it. The other shells that I do have, this is one of my favorites as well, is the Senator shell. Very cool looking. You can get this from the new Monarchy. It's got that red and white and the 3 little stripes on the side. So that is kind of the main gear and weapon run through that I use on my Hunter anytime that I play Crucible. As far as my setup on my subclass, I run Night Stalker pretty much 90% of the time. This is kind of how I get the setup. I've got the quiver, so that gives me the void anchors, and it does have a reduced range, but I get to fire my shadow shot up to 3 times. It does come in handy in the Crucible. As far as smoke, I use the adds a toxin to damage players over time. So this is kind of what I run for Night Stalker. Of course, Shade Step, it comes in very handy, and if you have ever played against the Hunter, you will know how annoying this really is because they can be pretty squirrely and get out of certain situations. So that is my Night Stalker subclass. I don't run Blade Dancer. There are a ton of Blade Dancers out there, and I just haven't used it enough to actually enjoy it or like it. But my other I really enjoy this subclass. It is a lot of fun. Gun, I use Deadeye. It increases the accuracy and the damage of Golden Gun. I use the Incendiary Blade, so it gives me the damage over time when somebody is hit with my throwing knife. Path Unknown is really just focused on battle recovery. That's something I really want on the Hunter. The armor and recovery is pretty much maxed out to give me the most stability that I can still have and be fairly quick and agile. And then Way of the Fearless, again, training focused on toughness. So making sure that my armor and recovery is pretty much as high as I can get it. So guys, that is pretty much my Hunter overview for what I run in PvP. Again, we are going to finish up this series next week with the Titan. And guys, you all have a wonderful evening. Have a fantastic time at Iron Banner. Hope you guys are getting some awesome loot and enjoying the game. Until next time, Guardians, we will see you all in the next video. And don't forget, I'm Detached, and I'm out.